All right, what up, crypto fam? So we're going to dive into another train wreck that is Solana. These VC whales are able to buy voting power. So when we talk about decentralized versus centralized and why I've been screaming from the top of my lungs to get your money out of all these DeFi, Ponzi scheme, proof of stake, DAOs, decentralized by word only. This is not what DeFi means. Let me explain. What decentralized means is that no single party has control over a network. The amount of coins that you own does not dictate your voting power in the network. The amount of money that you own should not dictate your voting power in a network. In Bitcoin, the amount of hash power, the amount of miners that you have running, the amount of skin in the game, the amount of money that you're spending to secure the network determines your voting power. Even though Michael Saylor owns 1% or more of Bitcoin out into circulation, he does not get to dictate anything that happens in the network. So Solana was getting ready to liquidate massive positions because they poorly designed their protocol. They had no whale preventative measures in place. They designed this completely horribly wrong. And I want to read this clip right here that says, Solend receives 1.48 million yes votes and 3,500 no votes with a majority of 99.8%. One wallet paid $700,000 for additional voting power.
One wallet paid $700,000
for additional voting power, ultimately making up 90% of the vote. If Anatoly Yakovenko wanted to force this vote through, all he had to do was go ahead and buy $700,000 for additional voting power, make the vote, and then liquidate his position and tank the entire market. It's almost embarrassing that people are actually like, oh yeah, this is great. This is what should happen. The only people that are agreeing that this is a good thing are people that are on the verge of getting liquidated, and they don't care what the long-term ramifications of something like this, right? You're now enacting emergency governance vote. So DeFi protocol Solend passes governance vote to reserve emergency powers. Sounds an awful lot like Canadian government.
After speaking with opposition leaders, the federal government has invoked the Emergencies Act to supplement provincial and territorial capacity to address the blockades and occupations. I want to be very clear. The scope of these measures will be time-limited. The Emergencies Act will be used to strengthen and support law enforcement agencies at all levels across the country. This is about keeping Canadians safe. These tools include strengthening their ability to impose fines or imprisonment. The government will designate, secure, and protect. We cannot and will not allow illegal and dangerous activities to continue.
When they didn't like freedom for convoy, blocking the bridge to the USA to Canada, they're going to invoke some emergency powers. You don't get to ever invoke emergency powers on Kadena. You don't get to invoke emergency powers on Bitcoin. Hell, you can't even invoke emergency powers right now on Ethereum. But when Ethereum switches to proof of stake, all it's going to take is for one big whale that wants to buy $700,000 worth of voting power in the Ethereum ecosystem. Elon Musk wants to own Ethereum. At the rate that Ethereum's tanking right now, hell, Elon Musk can own Ethereum for less than it costs to buy Twitter. So Solend is a lending protocol based on Solana that has passed governance proposal SLND2 that invalidates the controversial emergency power proposal from Sunday. It will also give the team time to take less drastic measures on large on-chain liquidations. The anonymous wallet at the heart of the Solana crisis has deposited 95% of Solend's entire Sol pool, which represented 88% of the USDC borrows. But Solend's single largest user came dangerously close to a massive margin call, with Sol's cratering price. If Solana hit $22.30, the protocol would have automatically liquidated up to 20% of the whale's collateral. So what that basically means is probably somebody like Anatoly Yakovenko or one of these big VCs just sat there for the last year and a half through the hottest bull run ever, and they had staked 95% of Solana and 88% of USDC. So every time anybody went to borrow or lend or do anything on Solana, this whale was making 88 to 95% of all the commissions from that. And because he left it there, because he didn't protect himself, because he borrowed against that, not only did he put it there so he's making all these fees, then he's borrowing against it and he's taking that and moving it over to other DeFi protocols and staking those assets in there and making commission. This one whale is robbing Peter and paying Paul all day long. He's making hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And now he's got himself in a position where, hey, well, now I'm at risk to get liquidated. If they would have pushed price down to $22.30, they would have liquidated the entire protocol. And that's why you probably seen players like Sam Bankman-Fried most likely stepped over here and was like, nope, I got billions of dollars in the bank. I don't care what happens. Price was down to $25 and within a few minutes skyrocketed all the way back up by 40%, 39% in 2 days, which was most likely Anatoly Yakovenko or one of these big players going, yeah, we can't let that liquidation happen, because if it fell down a few more bucks, that whale was going to get liquidated. So either that whale stepped in and bought up the floor, but now when the markets tank, where are people most likely going to want to force price down at? In the Solana ecosystem? All these ecosystems, they're just chasing all this liquidity. So unfortunately, it is a dumpster fire. Unfortunately, this is what the industry really needs to see, because when you tell new people like things aren't decentralized, guys, like how long have we been screaming that for? I didn't know. I thought certain things, like I thought Polygon was decentralized. I thought Solana, I thought these were decentralized blockchains. I didn't understand. So I'm apologizing for my lack of knowledge before, where I actually thought things, you know. It wasn't until I really started to interview Dan from Flux and Kadena and really started to understand what decentralization actually means. These proof of stake chains there's no way they're decentralized, because the vote, like the amount of coins that you have dictates your voting power in the network. So the best advice I can give you guys is, hey, we're on a rally right now. The stock market's closed. Depending on how next week plays out, if the Feds dump the markets and the stock markets fall, it should be another pretty big cascading landslide. How far is price going to go? It's hard to say, but I'm very confident to say that projects like ETH they can't scale to meet the demands of global real world adoption. So when you're an old, outdated software that cannot evolve, it's inevitable that you become MySpace. It just takes time for the world to realize it. And it's even harder for the world to realize it when a majority of this money that came into Ethereum up here, almost all of this is retail investors. Almost all of it. All the big VCs got in way early. You know, they were buying ETH over in 2020, 2021 in these early days. So, you know, unfortunately, this is a lot of retail investors, and those are the ones that are going to get devastated the most, because ETH, statistically, very, very unlikely that ETH will ever go up and put in a new all-time high, because there's just not a demand for it. Nobody's using it, and there's just too many hacks every day that happen. DeFi hacks are on the rise. Digital thieves had a big year in 2021, stealing $3.2 billion worth of cryptocurrency. But in 2022, they're setting up to steal even more. In the first 3 months of this year, hackers have stolen $1.3 billion from exchanges, platforms, and private entities, and the victims are disproportionately in DeFi. So if we take a look at crypto hacks in 2019, 2018, 2020, compared to what they are now, it is night and day. And you see the blue line here? The blue line represents DeFi hacks. So going into Q1 of 2022, there's been over $1.3 billion worth of hacks. And see the little orange line? The little orange line is an exchange. So like these centralized exchanges can secure their blockchains better than these DeFi, and they call these things DeFi. There's nothing DeFi about any one of these protocols, and that's why they're getting hacked. That's why they're getting obliterated right now. So it's like, how much more money are people going to lose in this industry because they want to save face? They want to hold their pride. They want to go, yeah, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's wrong. Everybody's going to use Ethereum. You just can't tell me the code exploits are increasingly common. Vector of attack by security breaches. Security breaches are here to stay. So code exploits right here just shows us that Q1 of 2022 alone, code exploits are huge. And then security breaches is another one, people losing keys. And those keys, how many of those keys got magically lost? Like, how are you been in the blockchain industry this long? You understand how important it is to secure private keys, and you don't have something like multi-sig? So if one actor loses their private keys, all the money is getting liquidated? No way. Kadena allows you to program in up to like 100,000 keys. So if you want to say every person, on the team, 15 out of 30 people on the team need to have their private keys present to make a code change or as an update, you can do that on Kadena. Multi-sig is huge, and not needing an independent third party to do something like that. So percentage of value stolen from DeFi protocol by hack type from 2020 to 2022. So code exploits, obviously flash loans are decent. They were bigger in 2020, but it seems like the industry's got flash loans under control, drastically under control. And then we can see it's not just Ethereum, right? It's the Ronin bridge on Ethereum, Axie Infinity Ronin bridge, Poly Network 630 million, Axie Ronin bridge 615 million, Wormhole on Solana 311, Bitmart Exchange, Badger DAO, Undisclosed, Venus, BXH, Cream Finance, Vulcan Forge. Like, it's not just Ethereum. It's all of these projects. Code exploit on Poly Network, this $613 million hack could not have happened if the code was just wrote in pack. So yeah, people might say, hey, there's not many projects building on Kadena. There's not much documentation. Yeah, there's not this. but they're building what you need. They are building a blockchain that can meet the demands and scale everything. 8 out of 11 projects that the Kadena team reviewed, and this is old and outdated. So after October, this hasn't been updated. So October 4th of 2021 was the last time that they added, but we can see Poly Network right here, $611 million hack would have never been possible if Poly Network was coded in Pact, because Pact uses formal verification. So every second that you write a line of code, every time you're writing 1 second worth of code, because Pact has formal verification, there are a billion inputs being monitored and analyzed every second. So every second you code, you're a billion times more secure building on Kadena, because the coding language automatically monitors a billion inputs and tries to tell you if your code can be broken, and it knows that you're coding in bugs before you even know what you typed a wrong key, you know? So the question just that you should be asking yourself is, instead of trying to argue or say that I don't know what I'm talking about, or say that I'm an idiot and all A, B, and C, start looking at blockchains from first principles. What do you need a blockchain to do? You need to be able to scale, you need to be able to do that securely, and you need to be able to do that in a decentralized way. Because if you're not scaling in a decentralized way, you're not gonna align incentives. Me as a business owner, would I wanna go build on top of Solana's blockchain? I don't think so, because even if it's fast, maybe somehow they get it so it's secure and there's not many hacks and it's popular and people are using it, so there's some adoption. As a business owner, me building on top of Solana is gonna make the VCs at Solana rich. So I don't wanna build my business on top of a blockchain where I'm making somebody else rich. I want to build it on top of an open source protocol where I'm adding value to the entire community, not just making the rich elite richer. I'm adding value for everybody. So after this, we're going to dive into a great KDA bet interview. So guys, hey you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, then check out my Kadena playlist. This one blockchain is going to change every aspect of life as we know it. And then come join us live on my second YouTube channel. Love you guys.